What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we got a lot of catching up to do about the whole Andrew Tate situation. You know, we all know he's been blocked on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, basically every big social media platform. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't think it's fair that he got blocked from everything. I don't think it's fair at all. There's people that's even worse than him.
Whether you agree or disagree with him, I don't think it's fair either, man. Like, regardless, from what I know, America's been built all around freedom of speech, and there's people, like you said, are way worse, that are like blatant racists and shit, that are talking on Twitter,
and they don't get blocked.
They're not getting blocked. Yeah. So what the fuck? How's he getting blocked? He put a video out, which is his final message. It wasn't on his YouTube channel because he can't upload on there, so he had to do it.
So what was it?
I'm not sure how it got uploaded, but he done like an official video. It's an hour long. We're going to break it up in parts, guys. We're not going to watch the full hour today, but we're going to do like, 2 or 3 parts probably. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what Yass is saying. His final goodbye to the supporters.
Let's get into it.
Let's do that.
I was thinking for a long time how to start this video because it needs to be concise and compendious, but I also want it to be very, very comprehensive. And I guess the best place to start is at the beginning. There's been many different versions of my life story which have been put on the internet as of late and from many years ago. But I'm going to give a very, very quick overview of my story. My life has always been difficult. I've certainly had a difficult life. I preach to the people who follow me that as a man, trauma and difficulty is extremely important because it's the building blocks for mental fortitude and physical fortitude.
It's quite sad that it's come to this, that someone has to do like a final message in a video, knowing that he basically has no voice on social media now, which obviously social media has basically taken over the world, and that's where people are heard the most in a way. Like, he's lucky he's in a wealthy position. Obviously, it probably annoys him, but it's not like he relies on social media for an income. He was a millionaire before the internet, but, he was trying to help people, and it's kind of slapped in his face.
He helped a lot of men.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I could say that.
So I'm very, very happy that my life has been difficult because it's impossible to become a capable man or a man of my capability without struggling with facing serious adversities, without trying to overcome often insurmountable odds. I grew up in south side of Chicago. I'm obviously a person of color. I was bullied in school to a degree, and my father always taught me to stick up for myself. I was never allowed
A family for him and Tristan, I'm assuming,
to run and cry to authority. I was told that if someone wants to mess with you or come at you, you can't always go tell the teacher. Sometimes you have to deal with it. I was actually picked on by these two kids when I was riding the school bus home. I think I was around 5 and they were around 7. They were a bit older than me, and they used to pick on me on the school bus. They'd sit behind me, throw things at me, hit me, etc. And I came home and I told my dad about it. I said, "Dad, these 2 kids are picking on me every single time I get the school bus. I don't know what to do." And my dad said, "I'm not going to call the teacher because the teacher ain't on the bus. And I'm not going to call the school bus driver because they're busy driving. Son, if you want to deal with this, you're going to have to deal with it yourself."
What's your thoughts of that and parenting?
I mean, personally, I would never encourage my kids to fight, get into some kind of physical activity. However, it's a way to, I guess, for the child to stand up for themselves as well. But then
it's dangerous at the same time because one, your child can get hurt, but at the same time, like, by the dad kind of telling the teacher or telling some sort of authority, he would be looked at as like a snitch in a way. And in that kind of area, Chicago, if you tell, they will make that more of a reason to bully you as you're the person who's a snitch or whatever you want to call it. So in my school, we all know snitches get stitches. I'm sure it's like that everywhere. But at that age, he's only 5 years old. Does the whole snitching thing count when you're 5 years old? Not really, but it's a tough environment. So yeah, but hey, it made him who he is, this experience.
But Dad, they're bigger than me. What do you want me to do? There's 2 of them and they're bigger than me. And at the time, I'd just come home from school and I was holding a lunchbox. And my dad pointed and said, "You have a lunchbox, son? Teach them." So weeks had passed. It was a few weeks. They kept picking on me, and I felt myself sitting there getting more insecure, and the rage was boiling inside of me. And one day, one of them slapped me in the side of the face from behind. I was sitting on the chair. He slapped me in the face from behind. And instantly, I don't know what it was, but this was the day I had enough, and I turned with my lunchbox and swung it over the back of the school bus chair and caught him and busted his eye clean open. The plastic Batman lunchbox.
Why did they do that scream there?
Hit him in the eye, and blood started squirting everywhere. All the children started screaming.
That's probably what.
And as I did this, the bus had just come up to a stop. It was a few stops before my stop, but it had stopped. And as the bus stopped and the screaming happened, I just got up and I just ran off the bus and ran home. I've never run so fast or so far in my life. I was full of adrenaline. I just ran. When I got home, I had blood on my clothes, and my dad looked at me. He said, "What happened?" And I said, "That kid," I won't say his name. I said his name at the time. I said, "That kid, he hit me in the face, and I had enough of getting hit in the face." And I was still holding the lunchbox, but it was all smashed up where I'd hit him with it. And my dad kind of smiled a little bit and said, "Don't worry, son. Get in the car." We got in the car and we went to Walmart. We walked up and down the aisle, and he looked and picked up another lunchbox, an exact replica of the same blue Batman lunchbox, gave it to me and said, "I'll buy you as many of these as you need."
Well, his dad was a top G. He said, "Don't worry."
His dad was the OG top G.
He's the OG of top G.
Yeah.
He said, "Smash all your lunchboxes on the kids' heads. Don't worry about it."
That was the last we spoke of it. Funnily enough, I never saw that kid again. I don't know if he changed schools. I don't know what his parents did. But I never saw that child again. So even from a very, very young age, I was taught that going to authority and crying and hoping someone else is going to fix your problems is not the way a man should conduct himself. When I left Chicago, I moved to Luton, England, which was multiple times voted the worst town in England.
One thing I can say, Luton is fucked. I live about 20, I lived when I lived with my mum's house.
He wanted to move to Luton. I said no.
I was about to move to Luton because, obviously I knew the area was bad, but I didn't realise it was that bad. But because it's on the outskirts of London, so you still drive into London and get the outside of London house prices, because London's a fucking extortion at the moment. But then I wanted access to be able to see my family and stuff, so I could just drive in. But Luton's fucked. Like, yeah, it's a shitty area, like, if I'm honest with you. And like you said, at the time, Luton, the absolute worst place in the UK, and it probably was, and it probably is still up there on the list, to be fair. There's areas near my mum's house that's really bad, and that's definitely one of them.
It's a high crime rate. It's a very bad area.
Yeah.
My mother and father broke up, so I was in a single mother household. And now I'm a person of color in a single mother household. I'm also the only American at the time in Luton. And I had, again, repeat problems in school. I was picked on for being the only American.
I was literally going to say he probably got bullied again for being an American or having an American accent at that young age. Kids will be like, "What the fuck?" Do you know what I mean? That must have been quite tough, especially in the UK school, I will say.
Picked on for not knowing things I should have known because I hadn't been through the English educational system. I'd been through the American educational system. And I had trouble in school again, but I stuck up for myself. Unfortunately, nothing got violent at any point. But when people made fun of me, I stood up and said, "Listen, don't make fun of me. I'm from a different place, and I talk differently." And I always understood that standing up for yourself, I never went to the teacher, I never cried to anybody else. I just stood up for myself. And over time, people learned respect for me and my boundaries.
Good.
And they were very respectful of me. And I had a very positive experience from then on out in school by simply standing up for myself, because this is how I was taught to act. In high school, I ended up having a reputation of a guy that nobody really messed with. I certainly wasn't a bully, absolutely the opposite, but no one really picked on me. I actually had a friend in school who was gay. I had 5 main friends in school, and I was also friends with a gay guy. And he would make fun of me for being American, and I would make fun of him for being gay back then. But the world was a very, very different place. This is many, many years ago. And we had friendly banter back and forth, but we were very good friends, and I stuck up for him and prevented anyone else picking on him all of the time. And the banter between us, the locker room talk, which would be considered absolutely unacceptable today, at the time was very, very normal. And we had a great time. We were good friends. And I heard from him, actually, after this ban. And he said, "You should mention the fact that the things they say about you completely aren't true." And this leads me on to the reason I believe these narratives have managed to gain such a foothold in popular consciousness. Due to the fact I've managed to develop an iron mind, because I'm probably the only individual on earth who can be vilified to this level without taking personal insult and without being emotionally affected, what I've done is I've allowed certain narratives to gain traction, which I shouldn't have allowed to gain traction, because they didn't personally bother me.
You know what this reminds me of? You know when Donald Trump was running for president and they literally like made him like the most evil man on the planet. Like the media created him as such this image. I'm not saying I'm a Donald Trump supporter. There's things I agree with and things I don't. Same with Andrew Tate. I agree with a bunch of things, disagree with some things. Because of the way they are, they're so cutthroat about it and they're so stand up about it. I feel like that strength threatens a lot of people and they feel like they have to...
They want to silence them.
They're building an influence.
I swear Donald Trump's Twitter account got...
Yeah, it got banned and then he was gonna...
He wasn't allowed on Twitter.
Yeah, he wasn't allowed. And then when Elon Musk bought it, they were saying, oh, get Donald Trump his Twitter back. But because he would just vocal anything. And Twitter's all about freedom of speech. That's the whole point of Twitter. You tweet what you're thinking. Like, as long as it's not racist or something like really bad, like you should be able to say stuff. And yeah, they silenced him on Twitter. They silenced Andrew Tate on all these social medias. And yeah, it's quite mad because once they build attraction and they start influencing people, but it's not influencing the agenda that they want, that's where it gets fucked.
They feel threatened.
They feel threatened because they've got such a following now. They're like, we need to cut it because it's opposite to what they're supporting.
But let's be honest, they've banned Andrew Tate from all platforms. His followers will still follow him.
Of course, but they made it hard though.
Yeah.
It's a lot more challenging. Like, depends how active he is on the platforms that he is allowed on.
To be honest, because he's made such a huge impact on many men's lives, I don't think people will forget about him. They will still hold on to him. Like, let's be honest, people that are watching right now, if you're an Andrew Tate fan,
you're not just going to forget.
Yeah, you're not going to, especially those that have done his Harvard University degree and everything, and gone for the what's that degree?
Pimping one. Yeah, I forgot it's called pimping hoes degree or something.
Yeah,
like PhD.
The PhD.
The actual PhD.
Yeah.
They are false. I live with a very, very pure heart. I'm a religious man. I go to church, and anyone who follows me in detail knows I donate huge sums of money to the church. And as long as I knew the truth of my heart and God knew the truth of my heart, I wasn't interested in lies being purported. I now understand that that's wrong because even though I've done nothing wrong, even though it doesn't emotionally affect me, even though God and myself know my innocence, the public consciousness has been polluted to a point where narratives are being purported which are absolutely and utterly false. And it's having a genuine negative impact on the people who I care about and the people who care about me. And despite the fact it doesn't emotionally affect me, as a man, I have a duty to protect all of those I love. And for this reason, these narratives have started to become very, very harmful. I was under understanding that on the internet, people don't like you. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you say. There's going to be some people who don't like you, and the people who don't like you are not interested in the truth. What they are interested in is finding some lie that they can latch onto and accelerating that lie on as much as possible via their platforms to try and paint a negative picture of you because they don't like you. A lot of these attacks against me are disguised under the virtue of caring about women. But none of these people who are attacking me care about women. None of them donate to women's charities. None of them donate to charity like I do. None of them help anybody like I do. I'm about to show, later on in this video, proof of the massive work I do for helping people. They don't help anybody. All they do is just attack me and use fake virtue, the fact they pretend to care.
I do like what you said there. Like, if someone dislikes someone, they will find anything like that's negative and latch onto that. Like, it's been like that even since high school days, you know. If someone don't like someone, they'll be like, oh, but that's the guy that went and done this, or he's a prick, or he's a dickhead because he done this. You wouldn't say anything positive because in your head you don't like that person. You're going to think about the negative things.
It's just jealousy, to be honest.
It could be jealousy, yeah, and it's quite sad.
It's just envy, jealousy. Like I said, Andrew Tate had such a huge impact in such a short amount of time.
It was a danger to the people that disliked his message.
So their aim was just literally just take him down.
That's it. Because even like big like feminists and stuff, they were like trying to find any way to take him down, man. Like whatever, they done like official complaints to like the social media. The social media he was banned on first, I don't know if this is true or not, but I think there's a feminist lady, like she's quite a big following as well, and she done like an official mad complaint, and she pushed it up the hierarchy of their head offices and stuff, and that's where his content properly got looked into, and properly they found an excuse to take it down. Because when these formal complaints start going into the head offices and that, and like there's a bunch of them, and it's like done at a high level, they can't just leave it and sit on it. But at the same time, like it's quite unfair, because he's not full on said nothing hateful. He's just, his messages were, you know, there's a difference between man and woman, and women are great at doing this, men are doing great at this, but I just prefer working with men because they're less emotional or whatever. But obviously, because he's saying I prefer working with men, the woman that he's pissed off a lot of women in the process and called sexist. And then they bring out the stories and they bring out all this and say they don't like him no more, and they're gonna try discredit him as much as possible, which led to this, which is pretty sad, because he, like you said, he's probably done more for people, humans, forget gender, humans, man and woman,
as opposed to the people that's trying to bring him down and
saying he's hateful, when he's donated millions to charities, as you say.
As a reason to attack somebody who they personally don't like. And it's very, very different to actually care about an issue or weaponize an issue and pretend to care to try and damage someone else's life. These are very, very different things. And this is the reason why I have not tried to dispel these myths as hard as I could have, because I understood that these people are always going to hate me. And they're always going to lie about me, no matter what I say or do. But considering in light of the final ban, and considering I have the public consciousness, I think it's extremely important that for myself and for my family and for people I care about, that I tell the truth. And I make the truth known to the world, because that is the only intention in my video, is to sit and tell the truth. And the fact that I'm a very, very iron-minded individual who is not negatively affected by these smear campaigns is not reason enough for me not to sit, take time, and dispel all the negative things which are said about me. I am fully aware that not everybody is going to agree with what I say. I don't think there's a person on the planet you can find who has a 100% approval rate. There's always going to be somebody who disagrees with what you say. If I said the earth was round, there would be a contingent of individuals on the planet who disagree with me.
That say it's flat.
I have no problem with people disagreeing with me. I have no problem with being seen as controversial for some of the things I've said. However, I do have two significant problems I would like to address. The first is I do not like absolute and utter lies being told about me. I do not like having long-form video of me cut up, elements taken out of context, the tonality of the joke removed, and purporting an image of me that is not true.
You know what? I was watching like big YouTubers like doing interviews on podcasts that blew up quite quickly. And a lot of them, when they were asked questions about, you know, how's YouTube life now that you've kind of transitioned to it full time, and what are the difficulties you're going through in YouTube life? A lot of these big YouTubers, I'm talking they got millions of subscribers, a lot of them said something similar, and was that a lot of their clips do get cut up out of context and put together in a way that makes them look really bad and really whatever, like negative or whatever, when it's so out of context. But that's because these haters that don't like that YouTuber will, you know, find anything, and, you know, like what he's saying, they've generated this image through editing. Look at, we edit our videos. We know how editing works. You're great at editing. You can make anything come to life these days with Photoshop. Look at these girls with Photoshop. They're fucking changing the whole face on Instagram. They're going from a 2 to a 10 because they're fucking using Photoshop and changing everything. And then in real life, they look nothing like that. It's mad. You can do anything with technology now. We're in 2022. That is crazy. And the thing is, you can do that with basic editing. You don't need like advanced skills to make someone look bad. You could just chop here, chop here, chop here, chop here, put that shit together. Oh, Andrew Tate is sexist title release. Oh, it's got 5 million views.
Even like, not just editing, like when he went to some of these interviews, I don't know what the two ladies' names was, but we reacted to them.
Yeah.
And then they were trying to like just take a negative thing that he said, which wasn't even that serious. And they were like, this is what you actually are. And he's like, no, that's not exactly what I said.
And then he has to justify it.
Yeah.
And one wrong move, even if he miswords something slightly that makes him look a little bit better than it should, they'll attack him for that. And that will get edited as well by a hater. And, Andrew Tate's racist now or whatever. I don't know. Like, they'll just find anything. Because he's on the hot seat, all his videos do mad numbers and views. People are eyes on him because they want their video to blow up, and they're like, we're just waiting for him to slip up if they don't like him. Wait for him to say, well, let me just wait for something and then I can edit it with this, make him look like shit. It's fucked. It's a hateful world, man.
Greedy fuckers.
It's greed and it's envy, literally.
Yeah.
They feel threatened.
That's something I do not like. I do not like false accusations of criminal activity. That's another thing that I really do not like. I am totally aware that not everybody is going to like me. I have no problems with that. I think anyone who decides to get big on the internet needs to be very, very prepared for a contingent of people to not be happy with what they say. I could make a YouTube channel dedicated to the fact that I believe the world is round, and there would be a large or semi-large proportion of people who would disagree with me. I don't think there's a single creator online that has a 100% approval rate. I have a lot of people who love what I say. I have a lot of fans. A lot of people are dedicated to my channel, and I have a lot of positivity online. And I have a small contingent of people who are very, very offended by what I say. We often talk about, in the modern world, the inclusivity of different cultures, different ways of life, different sexual orientations, and how we need to be tolerant and understanding of all these different people's life paths, and by extension, their different ways of viewing the world. I'm a unique individual, as is everybody else, and I have a unique life path that has led me to unique points of view. I think that all of the people who disagree with me are very, very welcome to disagree with me because they have had a unique life path and a different point of view, and I respect that absolutely. I would never shout for any of the people who disagree with anything I say to be silenced or canceled because I don't think that helps the world. I think that discourse is always going to be the way that we lead ourselves to the truth. And if anybody has anything contrary to say about any of my points of view, I welcome it. I like to hear it. And as long as it's in a respectful and adult manner, I often platform it on my platforms as much.
All the people that he's clashed with, disagreed with. These are the two women you're talking about, right?
Yeah, those two bitches over there.
As possible. So I can sit and discuss, and I can learn things. Because if I have a point of view and someone challenges it in a very adult, correct, logical way, very often I have changed my point of view. And this has been really, really good for me as a person to grow and for the audience to grow. And I know I've changed many other people's minds when they've come to debate with me. And this is the beauty of being human. So I have no problem with being disliked. I do have a problem with a few things. I have a problem with long format things I've said being taken out of context, taking a small clip from a 2-hour piece of video.
Exactly what I was saying. That's what a lot of YouTubers that said the same thing, that this is what they're struggling with.
Then, with careful editing, removing of tonality, and changing my intention behind the words, painting me to be a criminal or a bad person when I am not. I do have a problem with false criminal accusations when I do not have a criminal record, and I have never had a criminal record in any country on the planet. I do have a problem with this. And also I have a problem with the fact that social media has changed so much in modern times. A lot of the things I said that are being used against me were said 5 or 6 years ago in long format video. And as of late, with TikTok, with YouTube Shorts, with Instagram Reels, it's very, very easy to take 2 hours of video, snip out 10 seconds, edit it up quickly on a phone app, and then blow it up to millions and millions of views with all context removed, all tonality removed, and makes it look like I'm saying things I did not say or I mean things I did not mean. And this is something that I can't control. I became the most Googled man on the planet, and to a degree I'm a victim of my own success because now people are trying to find any little clip of anything I've ever said, remove all the tonality, and just blow it up to try and get views to be as controversial as possible.
He's a quick route to fame. That's what it is. So bare people just, like I said, on his ass. One wrong move.
It's quite sad.
Yeah. He's a victim to it because what can you can't control that. And you've seen how it is on social. What do you do to stop that? You legit can't. That's out of your power. And because of the topics he talks about, it's such a dangerous place to be because the topics you're talking about is, gender, race. And even though he said nothing racist, nothing sexist, etc., because he's put sentences together that is like, giving examples of other people's things and all that, one edit is fucked for him, basically.
I understand why they're doing that. They're doing that because they want the views for themselves.
Yeah.
But they're not taking into consideration how that affects me and my personal image as a whole. And I think the things I've just highlighted has now culminated in the media believing something about me which is so pertinently false, based on videos that I have never even made, purported and accelerated and advertised by people who I don't even know, with such a small piece of video from me, with all context removed, that I've now become the number one villain of Earth, and I truly believe that's unjust. And I want to discuss that here and prove to the world in my final message that I am not any of the things I've been accused of. Regardless of whether I am banned, reinstated, remain on social media, is completely beside the point. This is just a matter of clearing the air while I have the national consciousness.
So what's your thoughts on it so far?
Well, like I said, I think it's really unfair for him to get banned when there's people that's even worse than him on social media. You've got people in the royal family that are pedophiles and
literally
nothing's happening to them.
Fuck it. That's so true. Like, what the fuck? Literally proven they paid off. Like, it's been proven they paid the people off. And there's receipts and shit.
You've just got someone like Andrew Tate just coming on social media, just speaking the truth and actually influencing people in a positive way as well, just getting banned. And that's actually quite sad in my opinion.
I've seen some people say, or like those clips, I don't know if it was clips of him, but I remember seeing clips somewhere and they're saying the reason why they want to silence him is because he's helping men become men again. Because you know how like the world's coming like about, there's a lot of transsexuals, you can't even identify gender no more. You could be a he and a she at the same time and be a fucking car if you want. Like
the umbrella.
Yeah, what's that thing? He, she, you know what I'm talking about. It was on Instagram.
Cinnamon?
Whatever, you know what if it is that, it's that. But like whatever it is, you guys know what I'm talking about. But like you can,
guys, we moved houses, our brains are dead right now.
Yeah, as you can see, different background, we moved out recently. But yeah.
Pronoun.
Pronoun, that's it.
Pronoun.
So like, because he's speaking against that shit and that's what's becoming the thing now, the new norm.
I don't understand the whole pronoun, I'm sorry. Like, I don't get it at all.
Because he's speaking it like on the opposite side of it, that's why he's being silenced. And
yeah, they don't like it.
They don't like it. But 5-6 years ago, like this whole transsexual thing, like even till this day, like I'm sure if you're obviously in some countries, like, being gay or being transsexual is looked down upon still, especially third world countries and stuff like that. Obviously, in the first world country, it's becoming a bit more of a norm. But like 10, 20 years ago, like even when he was saying about his friend that was gay in high school, back then, he's older than me. I'm 28. I think he's 35. When I was 28, if someone was gay in high school, they're getting bullied, beaten up every day. They're going home with black eyes. That's how it used to be. So the fact that he even had a friend that was out the closet gay back then, he must have stood up for that gay friend a lot, because I guarantee that gay friend in Luton as well must have fucking dealt with some problems. Like he's lucky he had Andrew Tate as a friend. Now, obviously, the world's different, but he's not even saying nothing against gays. Like, so guys, that's the end of the reaction. Final thoughts or anything you kind of want to end it on?
We need to get this top G unbanned. That's what we need to do.
Free
Andrew!
Free Andrew Tate. I think there's a petition actually, and I think he's got like over like 200,000 signatures to try and get his thing reviewed. He needs more. I don't know how many you need to actually get officially reviewed.
I don't think they will.
I don't think they will.
They're not going to unban him. He's got too much power.
Like you said, he's the most searched man in the world, and he's against their agenda. So they're gonna find any reason, even if like he passes the unbanned criterion, he should really get unbanned, they will put that under a rug and be like, no, unfortunately you are unsuccessful or whatever. Even if he legitimately passes it, they won't do it.
They're not gonna unban him.
Yeah. And you know what, who knows, there might be a new social media platform that comes out one day that supports freedom
He's not
of
on
speech.
Twitch yet.
No, I think
is he banned on Twitch?
He's banned. I think he's banned on Twitch. Let us know, guys.
Is he on Twitch? I don't think he is on Twitch.
I think he was going to make an account. I don't know if he did or not.
He should make an account now.
But Twitch is even worse with this stuff. Twitch is the worst out of them for this kind of stuff. So hopefully one day there'll be a social media platform that really support freedom of speech, as long as it's not like hateful or racism or anything like that. You know, where people can have an open conversation about these things without being called a sexist or racist, because open conversation. But yeah, fingers crossed, guys. Let us know what you thought. Don't forget to subscribe. If this video does well, we'll make sure we do a part 2, part 3. We've been really busy moving homes in the last couple of weeks. That's why we've not uploaded.
However, we're going to start posting content again.
It's all set up now so we can start releasing more content. So make sure you subscribe, guys. But for now, peace out.
Bye.